Hey everyone, Cynthia Ray here. So today is day 3 of our 5-day sugar detox boot camp, and I have some new information for you all. Let me grab that. So yesterday we were talking about emotional eating and how to overcome that, and some tips and ideas on what you can do before you get to the place where you feel like you're just not having control over food and it's just too hard to skip the sugar. So go back, if you haven't watched it already, go back to yesterday's video for day 2 and take a look at it and see what is in there that you can get some help from and some ideas from when moving forward in our sugar detox. So this is day 3. Usually the first 3 days are the most challenging. Sometimes you might start experiencing some detox symptoms. You might be missing sugar. You might feel like it's not so bad. So let me know how you're doing. How are you feeling? Are you having any of those sugar detox symptoms that we talked about on day 1? Are you having any challenges? Do you have any victories that you want to share? And if you're jumping on with me right now live, go ahead and tell me your name and where you're coming from. Welcome. Just going to check my page here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so welcome to our group. And again, like I said, today is day 3. If you're just joining us, I've done 2 videos on Monday and Tuesday talking about the first day was introduction. The second day was giving you some tips on how to do this. And then yesterday I was talking about emotional eating. And then today we're going to talk about what foods to eliminate and what foods to keep in your diet as you're going through the sugar detox to make it a little easy for you. And so that way you can also balance out your blood sugar and have a balanced diet. Okay, so today let's go ahead and go over yesterday's homework was to really tell me how you are feeling. How are things going? Why are you doing this? Why are you committing this idea of detoxing sugar to yourself in your life right now? Why is it important to you? And what are you hoping to accomplish by the time we are done this week? So this week, this 5-day sugar detox boot camp is really a platform to get you jump started into doing a longer sugar detox so that you can really start eliminating sugar cravings. And if you have maybe a chaotic relationship with sugar, you can really start addressing any of the emotional issues that are keeping you there. So on Monday, this following Monday, we're going to be doing the full 21-day sugar detox, utilizing my book, The 21-Day Sugar Detox, the fast track to crush cravings, lose weight now, and feel better. So we're going to be going over this book. If you don't have a copy of it already, you can go to the 21dayswithoutsugar.com and pick up a copy on Amazon. It should come to you pretty quickly within like 3 or 4 days. So you can have that ready for Monday. So if you're interested in joining us, I created an invitation for that on Facebook. If you want more information about it, I can post that in the comments and you can let me know if that's something you want to do with us. So what we're going to be doing next Monday is we're going to be going through this book day to day. So starting with the introduction and all the way day 1 through 21 together, coaching you and guiding you, answering your questions that you might have as you're going through this, and then getting support from a community as you do this if you need a little extra support. So this is available for you on Monday. But today, like I said, this week is just a jump start to get you ready for the full 21-day sugar detox challenge. All right, so like I said before, the videos for the last 2 days are available. If you feel like you can't attend all 5 this week, that's okay. You can go back, they're all recorded, and you can find them within our Facebook group to review, or even go back to any time. I'm going to keep these in the group. So if you feel like you want to do this again in the future, you have that option. And then, so today I'm going to be spending about 15-20 minutes talking about what foods to add and what foods to eliminate to make your experience more successful. And then at the end, if you have any questions, I'll set aside about 5 minutes to answer your questions. If you're watching this recording, feel free to respond as if you're watching it live in the comments, and I'll come back and answer any of the questions that you have when you get a chance to watch it. All right, so if you haven't yet, please let me know if you're watching right now. Let me know your name, where you're coming from, and if this is the first time that you've ever done a sugar detox before. So comment in the comment section and I will look for you there. All right. So in the meantime, oh, I didn't even introduce myself. So if you haven't seen in previous videos, again, my name is Cynthia Ray. I'm a registered dietitian and fitness specialist with the American College of Sports Medicine. I'm a full-time homeschooling mom. I'm a wife and enjoy having some free time to focus on my fitness and then also help you all in the community. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me. And if you have a moment, go ahead and share a little bit about you within the comments so we get to know each other a little bit better. Also, so this is my public group. The private group is where we're going to be doing the 21-day sugar detox, the total one, where we'll be in a private community and whatever you share in there is only shared in that private space so you can feel a little bit more connected. You can feel more free to share without with knowing that other people outside of our group aren't seeing what you're sharing. Okay, so here's some, let's go ahead and get started with some practical strategies on what you can do to make this a little bit easier for you and start to reduce the amount of cravings that you're having for sugar each day. So the main thing is you want to keep your blood sugar levels stable. You want to make sure that you're eliminating processed foods and toxins from those processed foods. You want to make sure that you have great digestive you have great balance within your digestive hormones, such as insulin. That's a key one. You also want to make sure that you have ghrelin, which is another appetite hormone, leptin, and cortisol all in balance. So that way you can have more success and have less cravings and be less tempted to go for sugars. One of the other factors too is your gut health. Within our gut, we have the healthy bacteria and the less healthy bacteria in there. And within each of those gut bacteria, they have a memory, which is really interesting. So if you are eating sugars or even processed food or even healthy food, our gut bacteria have a memory. So if you're eliminating sugar or processed food from your diet, I would say for at least 5 to 7 days, you're going to start to have die off, where those bacteria in your gut are starting to die off, and the memory is starting to die off from your gut bacteria of having that. The thing is once you reintroduce it again, you're going to kind of reawaken that part of your gut and the cravings may begin again. So by the time we're done this on with this on day 5, I'm going to give you some ideas and strategies on how to minimize that, to make it a little bit easier for you so that you can live with sugar in your life if you want to. You don't have to, that's really your choice. But if you would like to, I'll give you some ideas on what you can do to have it in your life without feeling like you're being overcome by it or a slave to it. Okay, so the key to detoxing and the key to weight loss in this process is to make sure that you're keeping your stress levels low. Also, getting quality sleep is really important. Getting in healthy fats, getting in moderate amounts of protein, getting in a little bit lower levels of carbohydrates from low glycemic foods. And those low glycemic carbohydrates are the ones that are going to keep your blood sugar levels at bay, and it's going to keep you away from having those spikes and valleys in your blood sugar levels, which that in itself will cause you to crave sugar even more. So really focusing on getting those healthy fats in. Some of those are avocado, nuts, seeds, nut butters. You can do coconut oil, MCT oil. Those are the foods that you can consume that are going to keep blood sugar levels stable, and then also staving off hunger. So it helps in so many ways. The other one is healthy proteins. So lean proteins, whatever type that you like, and making sure that you're getting in moderate amounts of that. If you're getting in too much protein, you can actually stimulate insulin to store body fat. So you want to make sure that you're getting moderate amounts of protein, not making the majority of your diet protein, but having more balance. So also making sure that you have a moderate or low amount of carbohydrates in your diet. The thing is that over the years, we've all been taught, even when I was in school, we were taught, right, calories in equals calories out. But in recent research in science, it's really showing that's not always the case. Of course, if you're overeating and you're consistently doing that over time, there's going to be a point where your body needs to store the extra food and calories somewhere. It's going to store it as body fat. But that's not always the case for everybody. And that's where people get stuck thinking that, oh, I'm I just can't lose weight anymore. I've reduced my calories, but nothing's changing. Um, but really, the key is accessing your body fat stores and utilizing those as your primary source of energy instead of using the carbohydrates that you're getting in meal by meal, moment by moment. So primarily what's going to happen is when you're eating a high carbohydrate diet or even a really high protein diet, it's going to stimulate insulin. And what insulin does is it takes the carbohydrate or the protein sometimes, and it's going to put it into your cells for energy, which is ideal, right? That's how God created our bodies. So we get energy. However, if you're doing that consistently on a regular basis, what's going to happen is when insulin is triggered, it triggers your body. It kind of awakens that part of your metabolism to store that food or those calories as body fat. So once insulin's triggered, it opens up that metabolism to store calories as body fat. So back in the 90s, when everybody was doing fat free and low fat and everything was the trend, we actually were gaining more fat weight because insulin was constantly being triggered to store those calories as body fat. So now we know differently, which is great, that it's the opposite, that a higher fat, moderate protein, and lower carbohydrate diet are actually what's going to help your body to access body fat stores and utilize them as your primary energy source, instead of storing extra fat with extra or excess carbohydrates in your diet. So really the key is for balancing your blood sugar is just high fat, moderate protein, lower carbohydrate, and taking out those processed foods from your diet as well. And with processed foods too, what happens is they have lots of toxins in them from additives and sweeteners and colors, which are considered toxins to our body since they're not found in nature, they're chemically produced. What happens is your body doesn't recognize them as a food source, and so they're considered toxins. And toxins, when ingested, are, if they're not excreted in your urine or feces or sweat, they're actually stored um, in your fat cells, in your body fat cells, along with water, and of course fat as well. So if you are doing, or when you're doing a detox, you're going to be obviously taking out sugar, but then also because we're taking out processed food and focusing on a whole food diet, you're also going to get a secondary benefit of releasing those stored toxins from food. And of course, we can get toxins from other places than just food. We can get it in the things we put on our skin. We can get it from medications that we take, even from the air we breathe, depending on where you're at and what you're exposed to. So all those toxins will be released from your fat cells along with the extra fluid that's in there, and then you're going to start to lose body fat as well. So it's a two-part thing where you're keeping your blood sugar stable, and using body fat for your daily energy, and then also releasing toxins from your fat cells so that you're also going to be releasing some extra fat. So the idea is you want to use the term, like I keep saying, releasing fat. So you don't want to lose fat because you don't want to find it again. You want to release it to let it go because you don't need it, right? If we were in a severe famine, the person who has the most body fat is going to last typically the longest depending on their health. But just generally speaking, because there's extra body fat, they have extra stores to last a little bit longer. And of course, hydration is a different thing, but making sure to keep your diet balanced, eating whole, healthy foods. And of course, I gave you that meal plan on day one. If you don't have that, you can go back to the day one video and access that. I can actually put a link for it for you all within this post. So I'll do that for you when I'm done. So there's a few different hormones that are key players. There's ghrelin, and ghrelin is the hormone that actually stimulates feelings of hunger. And the goal of ghrelin, or the goal is you want to decrease the amount of ghrelin that's coming in the morning. So the way to do that is to have a diet, again, that's higher in healthy fats, moderate in protein, and lower in carbohydrates, to keep your blood sugar at bay and also your appetite stimulated. So the more healthy fats we're eating, the lower levels of ghrelin that we're having, and it's decreasing the stimulation of your hunger hormone. The other one that's really important is leptin, and leptin signals fullness long-term between meals. So that's the idea again. The more healthy fats you have, the more it's going to allow you to feel satisfied between meals. If you think about it, if you eat a 500-calorie piece of cake or a 500-calorie, I don't know, serving of healthy fats, which actually would be like 2 avocados, maybe more, um, you're going to feel much more satisfied with the avocado than you are from the piece of chocolate cake, because um, those appetite hormones, leptin, and also there's another one called CCK or peptide YY. Those are the two that signal fullness or satisfaction. So those are actually stimulated when you're eating healthy fats. When you are eating carbohydrate source, those appetite hormones that allow you to feel satisfied aren't being stimulated. So when you eat a 500-calorie piece of chocolate cake, you're actually not feeling full. It doesn't stimulate that part of your appetite hormone. So, and then of course I talked about insulin as well. So insulin is going to be, it helps to move those sugars into your cells for energy. And then it, however, like I talked about before, is increased use of insulin over time is going to signal fat deposition in your metabolism. So I hope this is all making sense. I hope this really helps you all. And then the last one, cortisol. I know people talk about cortisol a lot. It's stimulating with fasting, with food intake, with exercise. Fasting your food intake with exercise. When you wake up, cortisol levels are elevated in order to help you wake up. And then, of course, psychological stressors can cause a release of cortisol in your body. So cortisol is released in a highly irregular manner with peak secretion in the early morning, which then tends to taper off in the late afternoon. So that's how we wake up in the morning, is cortisol levels are elevated and we get to wake up in the morning, which is really cool. Of course, under stressful conditions, cortisol can provide the body with protein for energy production through this really cool process called gluconeogenesis. That's where our body utilizes protein, if in the absence of extra fat or carbohydrate, to produce energy as an alternate energy source. So when you have really stressful conditions, let's say you're in a starvation state, which doesn't happen unless you have zero food around you, then your body will utilize protein as an alternate energy source and convert that to sugar for energy. Okay, so after we eat, normally the ghrelin levels go down, so you're not feeling hungry anymore. But I just was looking at some research, but research has shown that in people who are obese and that have insulin resistance, their ghrelin levels don't go down as much as someone with a healthy body mass index and better insulin sensitivities. So basically what that means is if somebody who is obese and struggling with insulin resistance, so insulin resistance is where the insulin is not doing its job like it should be, and it's not putting the sugars into your cells for energy, which is kind of like a pre-diabetic situation. When that's happening after we eat, ghrelin, that appetite hormone, normally gets stimulated. But in people who are obese or with insulin resistance, that doesn't go down. So they're never really feeling satisfied. You're consistently feeling hungry, which is unfortunate. However, changing your diet to a high fat, healthy fat diet, moderate protein, and lower carbohydrate can actually start to reverse insulin resistance and obesity. So, and then along with fasting as well, that's something I've been talking about a little bit more in our group community, in our community Facebook page. So if you want to know more about fasting and the benefits of that, you can take a look at that as well. What else? There's lots of stuff about hormones that I really we already talked about. Okay, so the last one is sleep. So sleep deprivation. So with sleep deprivation, it ends up resulting in higher levels of ghrelin. So ghrelin is that appetite hormone. Short durations of sleep lead to increased levels of ghrelin, or your hunger hormone, but also contribute to reduced leptin and satiety. So when you are sleep deprived, you're going to feel stronger levels of hunger more often. And then not only that, when you do eat, it's going to be very difficult to feel satisfied. So it's really interesting. So the thing is, when it comes to weight gain, sleep deprivation is kind of like it hits you like a triple whammy, because sleep recharges your willpower battery. So if you're not well rested, it's going to be hard to make logical, rational decisions about food, about healthy food decisions. And then and if you're not, then your appetite hormone is overstimulated, and then the feeling of feeling satisfied is understimulated. So you're going to end up feeling hungrier, and it just sets you up for likelihood of overeating. So getting quality of sleep is really important in this process, and keeping those appetite hormones regulated and keeping your body weight, body fat down. Okay, so to finish off, so here are the key factors. The key factors are to add in moderate healthy amounts of protein, eating plenty of whole food, which is within the meal plan I provided if you need some support with that. Having a diet that's composed of low glycemic foods in order to keep your blood sugar level stable. Also make sure to include plenty of high healthy fats such as avocado, coconut oil, olive oil, and nut butters or nuts. You can also supplement with glutathione, B vitamins, and magnesium. So glutathione is helpful in helping your body to shed those toxins that are coming out as getting released as you're detoxing. B vitamins are great for mental clarity and stability. Whether you have anxiety or depression or just feeling a little off, B vitamins are great for regulating that. Magnesium is great for offsetting cravings. One of the major factors and the reason why women usually crave chocolate during their cycle is because of a lack of magnesium, and they're searching for it, magnesium is naturally found in pure raw cocoa and chocolate. So when you're supplementing with magnesium, you're going to reduce your cravings for chocolate and other types of sugar. Also, L-glutamine. L-glutamine is great if you're experiencing some really, really strong cravings for sugar. If you get about a capsule full of L-glutamine, put it under your tongue, let it melt there, you're going to start to lose that sugar craving gradually, which is really cool. The other thing you can do is unsweetened coconut milk is a great option. Sometimes unsweetened almond milk are great low glycemic options. Nuts and seeds, like I talked about. Some great carbohydrate sources are sweet potatoes or organic berries, which are low glycemic fruits and carbohydrate sources. Eggs, bacon's fine. And then during this time, our time together during the detox, just in general for general health too, I definitely recommend eliminating white foods, white rice, white bread, white flour, soy products, eliminate those, eliminate peanuts. Organic peanuts are a better option for healthy fats. And then peas for right now for a higher carbohydrate source of vegetable. Wheat, we want to eliminate wheat. We're eliminating white potatoes, dairy, alcohol, and of course, like I said before, processed food. So in conclusion, get plenty of sleep as best as you can. Melatonin supplement is really great for helping you sleep. Also, magnesium is fantastic. Taking that before bed is great for helping you sleep. And then making sure that you're eating whole, healthy food to balance out that blood sugar, keep those appetite hormones regulated so that you're eating the proper amounts and staving off those sugar cravings and desire to eat more food. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. And then for today, I think I have some homework for you. Yes. So for today's assignment, before that, let me share with you our affirmation of the day. So our affirmation is, you can say this out loud under your breath, I am gracious with myself, and when things get hard and I slip up, I forgive myself and move on, jumping back in right where I left off. Kind of like a speed bump in the road. You hit it, but then you keep going, right? You don't sit there and mull about it and go backwards and, get upset about hitting that speed bump, but you hit it, a little bump in the road, and you keep moving on. So today's affirmation is I'm gracious with myself, and when things get hard and I slip up, I forgive myself and move on, jumping in where I left off. Just like hitting that speed bump in the road, you just continue going. All right, so today's homework is share something you learned that spoke to you the most and how you can implement that to improve your daily health and your results. So share something that you've learned from today or even previous days that really spoke to you, and how you can implement it in your daily life to improve your health. So once you comment within the comment section here, uh, how how that's going for you, then tag me in the post too, and you'll be entered into a raffle drawing for a Starbucks gift card. I'll buy you a coffee to enjoy, and you'll be entered in the raffle for that. And I will let you know tomorrow if you are the winner. So anyway, I hope you learned a lot from this. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow on Thursday for day 4 of our Sugar Detox Bootcamp. And take a look out if you haven't seen it already. We're getting ready this coming Monday, to do our full 21-day sugar detox. Together, we're going to be utilizing my best-selling book, the 21-day Sugar Detox, the fast track to crush your cravings, lose weight, and feel better now book. So it's a day-to-day book, kind of like a journal devotional guide. And we're going to go through that in a private group next week. It's $17 to join us, and we'll be doing the whole 21 days together. So hope to see you there. I'll put a link for this if you're interested in joining us, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.